Matt Savoie up with the big club, and not just up because the NHL gave every team the ability to basically have 2 free recalls with players gone to the Four Nations face-off because teams are back and practicing, but Chris Knobloch says he's going to play Matt Savoie. We're going to get his NHL debut. And honestly, I'm quite surprised. Not surprised from the perspective of like, he doesn't deserve this. He's not having a great year down in Bakersfield. It just really felt like the Oilers had a plan all along that, like, we are not going to rush this guy. It is going to take a lot for him to get into the lineup this year, maybe. And by a lot, I mean like a significant injury to a top 6 forward. But they're seeing what they have in him. And honestly, I don't blame him at all. I think this is a really, really, really smart move because this is a position where you can get an answer on a guy ahead of the trade deadline, and not an answer of like, is Matt Savoie going to hit his potential and be just an instant plug-in top 6 guy? Like, that would be great. And if this experiment doesn't work and it doesn't go well, I'm not going to sit here and be like, he's a bust, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I think there's a chance he hits, Liam. And it's a very, very interesting gamble for them to be taking at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I think when you look back at some of the risks, feels like it's such a harsh word for it, but like signing Klingberg, claiming Kasperi Kapanen off waivers, like they really are going down every avenue to see the best value they can get out of this roster ahead of the trade deadline. I honestly kind of appreciate that they're looking around every corner to see what they've got. And obviously the one half decent comparison for it would be last season when Logan Stankoven got called up for Dallas. He was doing really, really well for the Texas Stars. I think actually quite significantly better than what Savoie is doing, at least was on pace for that. And I know Savoie had a bit of a slower start, so that's kind of disrupted his numbers a little bit. But either way, Stankoven came up and had a big impact on that Dallas roster. And obviously their trade deadline ad would ended up being Chris Tanev because they didn't need another forward because Stankoven was contributing so well for it. So yeah, I'm glad to see Savoie up with the big team, and I'm curious to see what he does. He's an incredibly smart player, and I think he'll survive, to be honest. By survive, I don't mean like stay the rest of the season, but just like I think he'll perform well and play at a good level.
It'll be really interesting to see kind of where the bar is with this guy, and also how Chris Knobloch decides to use him. Because again, bringing this guy up, and he doesn't need waivers to go back down or whatever, right? But bringing this guy up, you need to play him with skill. This is not a situation where, if the first game doesn't go well, we throw him down on the 4th line next to Adam Henrique and go, hey, maybe that's a role he'll fill. Like, there's no justification for going and doing that. If you're going to do this, and I love that they're starting him, practicing skating on a line with Leon Draisaitl and Vasily Podkolzin, and from our boy Jason Gregor, this is how the Oilers looked at their skate. I like this. You need to give him a chance to survive and compete with skill. Putting him with Janmark or Henrique or anyone who's really in the bottom 6 would not have been the right idea. But here's the thing. Knobloch needs to be in on this experiment just as much as management is. And to be fair, I'm sure he will be. But like, you need to play him 14 to 16 minutes a game. You need to give him opportunities, get him puck touches, all of that stuff.
100%. Like, he can't go in there and be a fourth-line guy and play 7 minutes. That's just not his game. I think you're asking you're not giving him the ability to showcase himself if that's what you ask, right? And I like the line with Leon and Podkolzin too. I think he'll be able to have space on the ice because of what obviously Leon attracts for himself, and Podkolzin isn't afraid, as we know, to get in there too and do all the dirty work. So that'll give Savoie that extra space to be the skill guy that he is. Like, he's an incredible player when he's at his best. And I think the Oilers, if this works, and I'm not sure what the trade deadline ad will be, but I can guarantee it'll be a blue liner rather than a forward.
I wonder a little bit if this 4-center concept that, the Oilers have rolled out maybe changed their thoughts on that a little bit. Now, I see in the lines that looks like Nugent-Hopkins is back on the wing, but certainly if you run those 4 centers, 2 things happen. You've got a really strong set of centers, and you really have a decent sized hole at scoring forward, right? So I kind of, if there was a rationale behind it, that might be it. But the other side of it is he's just playing very well.
Do you think maybe they saw how well Braden Point worked on Connor McDavid's wing and thought, maybe that was the inspiration? They're like, do we have the next Braden Point?
Yeah, yeah. It's 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 a comparable, right? It's and there was some banter online. I think I caught a stray bullet and some of it regarding point. And what I was saying to them was not so much the point comparatives, which are kind of eerily similar. It's more along the lines of style of play. Savoie is very quick, and Point is too, and they're also really quick decision makers. Puck gets on their stick, off their stick very quick, and they go to spots very well. Look for soft spots and just kind of get lost. And so they're very similar that way, both of them. So stylistically, I think there is a legitimate comparison. Whether Savoie has the success of a point a game NHL player, I'm not going to go out on that limb, but stylistically, it fits. And for sure, as we saw with Reinhart and Marner, McDavid's not an easy player to play with, right? Like, you need quicker decision makers, quicker skaters.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.